If you're trying to grow your career and really hit that next level of influence, leadership, and salary, then it's really time to stop worrying so much about technical skills and start thinking about how you influence your team. Once you advance beyond senior, you are no longer growing technical skills, you're growing people skills. When you get to senior plus, your staff, principal, whatever it is, then your impact isn't like I can code fast because that's what senior is. Senior is I am very capable of building all these things. I can do anything you throw at me. When it's senior plus, now you're kind of looking at okay, my impact isn't that I can do this faster. My impact is that I can break concepts down in a way that let less experienced engineers move more quickly. I can convey context properly. I can have the right conversations with stakeholders in language that they understand so that they understand why we're building things the way that we want to build them. Like you're talking about maintainability versus velocity. Use their motivations. Understand why is sales asking us for the things they're asking us for? Why is product? Why is marketing? What are their metrics? What are their OKRs? What is their pain point? What are the things that cause them to lose sleep at night or to get yelled at by other leaders and teams? If you can understand those things and then think about what you're trying to do within the context of what they're talking about, you can then go and say, sales, you're always looking to have more shipping so that we've got new launches, things for you to bring up in sales meetings. Marketing, you're looking for something that we can launch. You're looking for things that fit the narrative of what we're doing. And product, you're trying to clear the roadmap in a way that actually drives more activation, more retention, and et cetera, et cetera. So the way we want to build this is going to solve X, Y, Z in a way that is going to impact your metric like this, your metric like this, your metric like this. And if we don't do that, we can get a short-term boost, but it will cost us in the long term in these ways. We can rob Peter to pay Paul here and make this sprint, but the cost down the road is that when we get to Q3, Q4, we aren't going to be able to ship. And that means that we're going to be back in this situation again, but it's going to be worse next time because now we're going to be making this decision again, but we'll already have all of these things that are bad. So it is a snowball that we don't want to start. And if you can have that conversation and you get people to buy in, you get them to understand, this extra week isn't going to cost us the farm, but if we don't spend this extra week, it might cost us the farm at the end of the year. That then starts to become your superpower as a team member, is you can have these conversations across context and understanding how different things fit together within the organization and what different motivations are. Because ultimately, every company wants to build a thing that people want, that they use and are willing to pay for. That's it. Every single department is trying to accomplish those things. And if you can figure out how metrics get assigned that roll up to those things, one, it puts you on a leadership path if you want to be, because thinking like that is what a leader is supposed to do. And two, it gives you the ability to communicate with your team. It gives you the ability to empathize with other departments. It gives you the ability to explain what you need in language that other departments will understand. In fact, the more senior you get, the less your job is about tech at all. And the more your job is about seeing the tech as a tool that accomplishes goals for the broader business. And that to me is really the mark of somebody who is advancing as a senior engineer. And the impact that you have as a senior engineer is in trying to do some of this work to clarify and simplify, because if your team can look to you and say, are we doing the right thing? And you say, yes, I've had the conversations, we've got the clarity, these are the tasks that need to get done, and they roll up to these goals. And then your team has confidence, they know exactly what they're working on, they know what the definition of done is, and all of those things are accomplished by someone more senior, a manager or a senior dev, being able to think through the specs of what's being built and how it rolls up to company goals and how it helps everybody around the organization, so that you don't get halfway through and then sales goes, yeah, but we also need this. And you're like, where did that come from? How did that blow up my specs? You have these conversations ahead of time to make sure you understand their motivations, and you can counter some of that stuff and head that off and make it less likely that you get surprised midway through because marketing needed a thing that wasn't described as a spec. You didn't know that they said this thing in passing and it's going to actually become part of the deliverables, so you spec'd around something else. Like being able to have those conversations and smell when you're in a conversation where somebody wants something that they can't articulate, and then you have the ability to dig in and understand what they're asking for, even if they don't know. That's senior plus, that's leadership, that's the stuff that makes your team more effective, because the fewer surprises, the more confident and productive your team is going to be. Your job as you get into the senior plus and into leadership roles is trying to maximize your team's confidence and clarity. If you can maximize those two things, then they will be able to trust that they can go and build things and not get in trouble for them later, or find out that the thing they're working on is going to get thrown away, or whatever that is. It's bigger than you as a senior dev, but that's the role you start to play. You should be supporting your manager in understanding this stuff. You should be supporting other teams in making sure that they understand what they're asking for and that the scopes they're delivering are complete. You should be thinking through the whole flow. What is the user going to do when they get in here? Hey, we didn't think about this whole user flow. Should we talk about this now? Or is this a big enough question mark that we actually need to stop this project before we start it so that we can think through that UX? And you can tell when you talk to a team that's like gelling really well, and it almost always comes down to they are able to work on things with confidence because they're very clear on the deliverables. And that comes from the folks in positions of power, senior plus devs, leadership, management, all doing the work to really focus on that clarity and making sure that the teams are all aligned, understanding the same goals, speaking the same language, and working toward the exact same outcomes. Don't forget to like and subscribe and, give this one a watch and see how it makes you feel.